When Devon's brother died of a heroin overdose, the grief hit hard. But so did the judgment. People said things like, "At least now you can sleep at night," or asked why the family hadn't done more to help. Devon stopped talking about it, especially after being left out of conversations or facing awkward silence. His pain didn't lessen, but his willingness to share disappeared. He grieved not only the loss of his brother, but also the loss of compassion. Welcome to this mini-series on understanding the language of grief, loss, and trauma. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich. I'm a somatic practitioner, psychological therapist, educator, and author, specializing in grief and trauma, and the host of the How to Deal with Grief and Trauma podcast. Grief and trauma are deeply human experiences, yet many of us struggle to describe what we are going through or to understand what others are facing. The vocabulary of loss is vast, varied, and sometimes overwhelming. In this short podcast episode series, we'll explore the different types of grief, loss, and trauma that people encounter throughout life. Each mini-episode serves both as an educational tool and a compassionate companion for anyone trying to make sense of their own experience with grief, loss, and trauma, or someone who is supporting someone else who is. These terms are more than labels. They are doorways into greater understanding, healing, and connection. Whether you are a bereaved parent, a caregiver, a therapist, or someone walking alongside a grieving friend or someone who's experienced trauma, these bite-sized episodes aim to give you language, insight, and tools. Each one includes a definition, some key considerations, an explanation of why it matters, relevant podcast episodes, and frequently asked questions that I have been asked by my clients and you, the listener of the podcast. And my answers are all grounded in both professional and lived experience. So let's begin. Stigmatized grief occurs when the nature of the loss is judged or devalued by others, leading the grieving person to feel shame, silence, or isolation. It often surrounds losses like suicide, overdose, incarceration, HIV/AIDS, abortion, or any death that carries social judgment. This kind of grief isn't just about the loss. It's compounded by how others react. So stigmatized grievers may hide their feelings, avoid memorials, or be excluded from rituals. This makes healing even harder and increases the risk of complicated grief, depression, and loneliness. This matters because we can't fully grieve in secret. Human beings need relational and communal support to integrate loss. Grief needs to be witnessed and shared. So when the grief is shamed and minimized, the wound deepens. So acknowledging stigmatized grief is essential for inclusion, empathy, and effective healing support. In episode 54, I speak with Juli, in which she shares about the loss of her husband from an accidental overdose, which is an example of stigmatized loss. So I highly recommend to check out her story. Other examples could be experiences from grievers who lost loved ones to abortion, adoption, incarceration, or stigmatized illnesses, or also clients whose grief remained unresolved because it was never spoken aloud. So, for example, a secret abortion or secret adoption. So some of the questions. So what makes grief stigmatized? It's when others judge, avoid, or dismiss the grief based on how or why the person died. Is stigmatized grief only about substance use or suicide? No, as I mentioned, it can include death due to HIV, abortion, criminal acts, or anything seen as controversial. So why do people react this way? Mostly it's about fear or misunderstanding, discomfort, or societal bias. They all play a role in why people react this way. Another listener asked, how do I know if I'm experiencing this? So for example, if you feel silenced, ashamed, excluded, or unsupported in your grief, you may be experiencing stigma. How can I cope with stigmatized grief? It's really important to seek spaces that are validating, like grief groups specifically for that kind of loss, or a therapist that understands what you're going through, or online communities. So give yourself permission to feel and name the pain. So what if other people make hurtful comments? You can set boundaries, choose not to engage, or share only with those who offer support. On the contrary, may it be okay to grieve privately? Yes, but not because you feel you must hide, because you deserve the right to grieve openly if you choose so. So what can I do to reduce stigma for others? Like Julia Warren, speak compassionately, listen without judgment, and don't make assumptions about how someone should grieve. In the next episode, I'll be speaking about vicarious grief. I hope this episode has helped you feel more grounded in the language of loss, grief, or trauma, and maybe even offered you some clarity, validation, or insight into your own experience or the experience of someone you care about. Grief and trauma are deeply personal, yet universal. When we can name what we're feeling, we take one powerful step closer to healing and the integration of our experience back into our life. If this series resonates with you, I invite you to keep exploring. You'll find more resources, courses, and ways to work with me at nathaliehimmelrich.com. And of course, you're always welcome to revisit any of the episodes whenever you need a gentle reminder that you're not alone. Until next time, take good care of your heart.